Welcome to Vault Forward, Climate Vault's video series dedicated to helping you navigate your climate action journey. I'm Lindsey, and today we're going to be discussing 3 key steps of creating a greenhouse gas inventory, also known as a GHG inventory, so that you can confidently and accurately disclose your emissions. Organizations face increasing pressure to be transparent about their carbon emissions. Customers, employees, investors, and regulators are all demanding accountability, driving the need for complete and accurate data on environmental impact. But creating a comprehensive and audit-ready GHG inventory comes with its own unique set of challenges and requirements to be aware of. While it can appear time and resource intensive, it doesn't have to be. Tools like carbon accounting software avoid complex manual processes and make getting started simple. So let's get started. The first step is to plan how you're going to calculate emissions. This involves familiarizing yourself with standards like the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, or the GHGP, which is the primary and most widely used international standard for measuring emissions. It classifies emissions into Scope 1, Scope 2, and 15 categories of Scope 3. If you're using carbon accounting software, the tool is likely already built upon the GHGP standard, removing the need for you to become a GHGP expert. We do still recommend understanding the different scopes that your emissions are categorized into, because some scopes are required to be disclosed via regulation. During the planning step, you'll want to understand your operational and organizational inventory boundaries to help you measure emissions consistently throughout your company, which is especially important for more complex business structures. Operational boundaries identify which emissions from which activities will be included in the inventory, like fossil fuel combustion and equipment, while organizational boundaries determine which assets, like vehicles, and which entities, like joint ventures or subsidiaries, are included. You'll also want to choose a base year that's representative of typical operational conditions so that you have a consistent comparison of emissions performance over time. Note that base years may need to be recalculated if your organization experiences significant changes, so it's best practice to include a base year recalculation policy in your GHG inventory governance. Once you have a plan, the next step is to focus on your data collection and emissions calculations. This step requires developing comprehensive data collection procedures and using tools like carbon accounting software to optimize and streamline the process. To get started with the step, you'll need to identify all the data for your emission sources. For Scope 1, that means you'll need to identify mobile and stationary fuel combustion sources and process emissions. Tracking purchases of energy, fuels, and refrigerants in your financial accounting systems simplifies this data collection. For Scope 2, gather utility bills, as the data from metered electricity consumption is needed to calculate these emissions. And for complex Scope 3, you're likely going to face data availability and supplier engagement challenges. If you're just starting from scratch with Scope 3, you can begin with a spend-based calculation approach and move towards more detailed activity and supplier-reported data as it becomes available. For most companies, data will be located in various internal and external systems across different functions of your organization and possibly across different countries. Because of this, we recommend rigorously documenting your data collection and measurement processes in the form of an inventory management plan or through robust internal controls. Strict climate data governance mitigates risk, which is crucial for decentralized data subject to public review, regulation, or the basis for major investment decisions. We want to stress, especially with the recent approval of multiple climate disclosure laws, that climate-related data is facing heightened scrutiny that your organization just may not have previously experienced for its sustainability reporting. Because of this, we recommend that organizations think of, manage, and report their climate data with the same degree of rigor as their financial data disclosures. We again recommend carbon accounting software that has automatic data quality checks and built-in audit trails that capture and document the steps of your data collection and processing to assist in the accuracy, integrity, and completeness of your data. As you're compiling your inventory, know that it's not uncommon to be missing data needed to calculate emissions, especially for organizations early in their process of creating a GHG inventory. When faced with these challenges, it is acceptable short-term practice to use estimates to fill data gaps in order to avoid underreporting emissions. However, it is important for your organization to move away from estimates as soon as feasible to improve the accuracy of your GHG inventory. We also recommend tracking the percentage of your inventory that is calculated with estimates and work towards improving this metric. The last part of step 2 is using emission factors to quantify emissions. Emission factors are a number that represent the amount of emissions produced per unit of a specific activity, process, or fuel combustion. They are critical inputs needed to calculate your emissions, and they may change over time as carbon intensity of activities change or are more accurately understood. For the most accurate and credible GHG measurement, it's vital to use emission factors from reputable sources, including but not limited to the IPCC, the International Energy Agency, and the US EPA. Whichever emission factor sources you choose, be sure to document them, along with underlying assumptions, data sources, and methodologies used for estimation. And be sure to monitor for updates in emission factors to ensure your data remains current. This is another place where a trusted carbon accounting platform can help you get started, as software often provides out-of-the-box access to deeply researched emission factors that are automatically maintained over time, which eliminates your need to do so. After you've gathered all of your data and calculated emissions, the final step for your GHG inventory is having it audited. For internal quality assurance, be sure to follow your organization's internal controls for data review and verification to maintain accuracy in your GHG inventory before any third-party review. Next, you'll want to obtain data assurance from an external auditing firm that will provide independent verification of your emissions data. Although outside of climate reporting mandates, it's not required, assurance is a good final step that enhances the credibility of and trust in your organization's emissions disclosures. Auditors want to see how your organization calculated your emissions and where all the data was sourced. So they will review methodologies, verify protocol compliance, trace data, conduct spot checks, interviews, and calculations to ensure accuracy. After the GHG inventory is complete and has been successfully verified and signed off on by your third-party auditors and relevant internal stakeholders, you're ready to take action on your climate impact. A few places to start may include identifying major emission sources and their drivers, creating reduction targets and strategies, developing action plans, allocating resources and implementing, and tracking progress over time against your targets and plans to improve performance. And there you have it. 3 steps to create an accurate and transparent GHG inventory to help your organization understand its environmental impact and get started on implementing climate solutions. As I've mentioned throughout this video, starting your GHG inventory can be daunting, but leveraging carbon accounting software can make emissions measurement easier, approachable, and accessible. These tools provide actionable insights that help you engage with all levels of your value chain with data-based arguments to reduce your organization's time, emissions, and costs. After all, sustainability practices are good business practices. If you want to dive deeper, check out our new blog on how to create a GHG inventory linked in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for another edition of Vault Forward.